Hi, I'm Jay. Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a more in-depth look at this Dasaita Android head unit. Now, this is a follow-on video that's been requested from the initial video I did in February when I first got this. And my aim today is to show you a little bit more in depth some of the settings, where some bits and bobs are. So if you haven't seen the first video first, I would suggest you go and see that. And then this will give you a little bit more information if you're looking to buy one. So let's jump straight into it. Okay, so first of all, let's quickly go through the specs. So like I said in the previous video, it is a quad-core PX6 chip, which again is no slouch for any tablet really, and that's accompanied with 4GB of DDR3 RAM, if that means anything to you, and 64GB of built-in storage. It's got a 1024 by 600 IPS screen, so it's quite a nice looking screen, and also features things like built-in GPS, Wi-Fi and radio, 3 USB outputs, HDMI video outputs, as well as RCA and sub outputs as well. It's not quite suitable for audiophiles, but definitely more than enough outputs and quality for your average radio consumer. So the general user interface. This here is a custom car launcher. So when you pull it out of the box, it won't look like this, but we will cover this later on in the video on how to change it, because the original one I think is a little bit lacking in features. But I guess the first place to start would be your apps. So a lot of these you become as standard built-in. I've only put a few apps on these. The only apps that I've really downloaded myself would be Wikiloc, Spotify, I think is already on there actually, Talk, and my custom car launcher here. To access the settings, there's an app called Settings, and these are your standard Android tablet kind of settings. The only difference is you've got this extra menu of car. Now car is again more towards the stereo, and you can set things like your panel light colors here. You can, if you had steering wheel buttons, you can remap them in this menu. These are your amplifier settings, so it does have a built-in DSP, I believe it's called, which is quite a good feature. It allows you to have a complete control over the sound quality or the amplifier settings, as well as, you know, bass boost and all that. I'm no audiophile by far, so I couldn't tell you what half these settings do, but they're there if you need them. Navigation settings, again, most people won't really need to go into this, but it's there if you need it. Driving settings, mainly blocking certain things while you're driving, so allowing to watch video while driving, that is enabled at the moment, but I don't actually use it. You can also block notifications coming up so they don't distract you. And in the extra settings tab here, we have a couple of miscellaneous options, so to speak. So shutdown delay, I've just set it to auto sleep straight away, but you can set it to delay that. So when you turn the accessory key off, which is what this ACC is talking about, i.e. you taking your cars out of the ignition, you can have it running for a select amount of time before it shuts down. Automatically play music when USB or SD is inserted, kind of self-explanatory. Reversing the X mirror, I'm not sure what that is, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Reversing volume, you can lower the volume when it goes into rear view mirror. Rear view roller, if you have a built-in reversing camera or you install one using the radio as a display, then that puts up the guides if you need them. And I've put this helpful little one here which is displaying your battery voltage at the top here. Which, again, it's there. You may as well use it, and that will give you a quick indication on if your alternator is working or your batteries need to be charged. And then the last setting is this factory settings. Now, this one you might need to get into if you would need to set up your CAN bus or anything like that, which this radio can read your factory CAN bus if your vehicle has it. And now the code to get into this is the same across the range. It's 126. Okay, and that will get you into the more technical, so to speak, settings. However, there is a couple of settings in here which you should be aware of. These are more of the input side of it. So if you had a DVD plugged in, or you had there is a option to have a TV tuner plugged into this, your tire pressure monitoring system, if you want to enable or disable the radio, all this kind of stuff. DAB, I have actually bought the DAB antenna for this, but I haven't installed it yet. This is where you would choose which one or which module you're using and to enable it in this screen. Car logo, customizable car logo. So you just choose your manufacturer's logo, or you can actually download and set a custom logo if you wish. These are your radio settings, mainly what region you're in, obviously Europe, so it can tune into the correct frequencies. This is your volumes for your different applications, so you can fine tune how loud the volume is depending on what application you're using. These are your CAN bus options. So if you have a CAN bus, this model of Hilux doesn't have one, so there's not a lot here, but it can tap into all the information that your CAN bus system is transmitting, including things like radio keys, tire pressure monitoring systems, reversing cameras would all be up here. I haven't actually played with this one, but I believe you can actually remap the keys in certain areas of the screen, for example these ones here, but I haven't actually played with that, so I'm not going to go too in depth on that. And these are the last settings that doesn't really fit into any other categories. So a few of these I'm not entirely sure, but for example, brightness adjust, automatically controlled by headlamps, so when you turn the headlamps on, it automatically dims, can be enabled here. So if you're having problems with it not dimming at night, the settings could be in here. The front camera, if you have one, all these different things. Steering wheel signs, again, panel LED control by headlight. So these are all the other options that you can play with. So let's exit out of here. So that's all the settings. Now, like I said before, this is my car launcher. I actually can't remember what the original one looks like because I've been using this one for so long. But I'll show you which one I'm using. I'm using the Agamama car launcher, which obviously if I press it just comes up to this. If you download that on the Play Store, again, if you download this one on the Play Store, I'll put a link below maybe in the description. And when you first activate it, it will ask you if you'd like to change your launching screen for this program. I believe you can actually change it back by going into your settings, into apps and notifications, and you scroll down. If you go into default apps, and your home app would be your custom one. So for example, if we went back to launcher 3, which is the default one, this is your default launcher. Like I said, I didn't like the look of this one. It's not as feature rich as the other ones. So I decided to go back to my custom one. Which to me, this one's a lot better. There's lots of different things you can do for these apps. You can assign music, your preferred music app, or you can swipe and it'll bring up to 4 options under that menu. You can also change the middle screen to a clock, for example, or even navigation if you had active navigation on the go. or even your music. I was last listening to an audiobook. I like to keep it on the logo. It kind of fits in with the aesthetics of the vehicle and it looks a little bit nicer. Now the one thing that I glossed over in the other video, which I would like to kind of go in a little bit more of an advanced in-depth look, is setting up your OBD reader. So I've got, like I said in the other video, I've got a Bluetooth reader underneath the dashboard here, and as long as you've got your Bluetooth enabled and you're connected as you would be a normal Bluetooth device, this doesn't come up with a name but it's got an OBD logo there, then you can activate your app of choice, which I'm using Talk, which it'll take a second to connect to the OBD reader. And if I start the vehicle, I get my revs up on the screen as an example, and my real-time information will be live as well. I'm not going to go too in depth because your app might vary, but you can press and hold on these ones, change it to, change all the displays. You can have different screens set up for different information. So if you're out on the trail and you need something quickly to keep an eye on your coolant temperatures, for example, then this would be a great screen to keep up. So before I wrap this video up, I just want to gloss over a few issues. I'll go into more in depth in a review that I'm planning to do 6 months down the line to a year, once I've had full chance of testing this out. But some of the issues that I came across before, like the radio screen freezing, I disabled the screensaver from the radio, and that seemed to solve the problem. I haven't had this freeze up or go blank or anything like that ever since I've got rid of that screensaver. So I'd think that's more of an application issue that they're using to drive the radio rather than the actual hardware freezing up itself. The one thing that is a bit of a bear bug is that sometimes the Wi-Fi, when you turn it back on, the Wi-Fi will be defaulted as off. Not a problem. It might be a setting that I've not kind of set up properly, but I do have to sometimes manually turn the Wi-Fi back on and then find out, log back onto my Wi-Fi. For my internet, I'm actually using my mobile phone as a mobile hotspot. However, there is a 4G dongle accessory you can use in this, which then you can plug in a normal SIM card that will give you mobile internet. I didn't really want that, so what I've done is I've automated my mobile hotspot to turn on when my Bluetooth connects to it using an application called Tasker. And now if you want a video doing on that, then comment in the comments below, and I'll do a separate video on how to set up Tasker to automatically turn on your hotspot, and hopefully your Wi-Fi will then automatically connect. A few people have mentioned, does it wobble? Now, it has got a little bit of movement. I'd say maybe 3 to 4 millimeters when you're actually physically pushing it, but it doesn't really wobble that much on the road. I haven't done any heavy off-roading because of this lockdown that we're all experiencing at the moment, but I have taken it down a few tracks when we first got it, and it doesn't wobble that much to the point where you can't see what's happening on the screen. So I'll get back to you guys on that once we've done further testing. The only other issue I've had is the loud hands-free ringtone. When someone rings you while it's got hand-free active, it will pump out your ringtone at full volume. Again, in the other video, I solved that by getting someone to ring me and then turning down the volume at the same time to a desired level. Once you've ended that call, it will save that volume level for the next time you're rang. Unfortunately, what I discovered is that your ringtone and in-voice volume, i.e. the volume that the other person is talking out of is set at, is linked. So if you're struggling to hear someone, you turn that back up again, it will save that level for your ringtone next time round, which might be a bit louder than what you'd expect. So a little bit of a better bug that could be done as a separate thing. If you could get your ringtone and your in-call volume at separate volume levels, that would be great. But again, it's not that much of an issue. Just turn it back down again before you terminate the call. But I've probably been talking for quite a while now. It's probably going to be quite a long video, so I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully that's answered a few questions. And if you have any more questions about this particular radio, then comment down below. I've had quite a bit of interest from the Overland community on these radios, so please ask away. And remember to subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the lockdown. If we can achieve that, we'll be doing a giveaway, so keep tuned for that. And yep, thanks, and I'll see you later.